trying to get you to talk about Andrew Tate for weeks now.
What?
And you have not wanted to talk about him for some reason.
Not true.
Did you hear he's claiming to have gotten saved?
I heard that he had joined the Muslim faith.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, how are we hearing two different things?
Because of our thought police have not got a hold of us yet.
That's funny.
But yeah, you heard he got saved.
Yeah.
I heard that he joined the Muslim faith and is trying to encourage all young men that Christianity is wrong and that the Muslim faith is the true faith. Islam.
What? Okay.
That's what I heard.
Okay. I have opinions on this. Well, okay, so Andrew Tate has probably more conservative ideals in some ways. And I think if he were to get saved in Christianity, if it was a true conversion, I think it could mesh together very well and he could do good things. But if he goes into Islam, where they're very domineering over their women, majoritively, I could see that being a very bad thing.
You're not wrong. I've said many times I only connect with about 50% of what Andrew Tate says.
Yeah.
A lot of it is like this just machismo, just very self-oriented.
Oh, self-oriented, that's huge.
Yeah, he is 100% egotistical, egomaniac kind of thing. Like, you know, when he talks about ordering a steak at a restaurant, and he's like, when I order a steak, I just go, give me your most expensive steak. And then the waiter comes back and says, well, we have the prime rib and we have the so-and-so. And he's like, which one is the most expensive? He goes, what's the price of prime rib? He goes, $25 or $45. He goes, what's the price of the so-and-so? And he's like, $47. And he's like, why are we having this conversation? I told you to give me the most expensive steak. It's like, dude, come on, man. You're so cocky.
Like, I think his values are messed up. And I think sometimes people that have that huge bravado, they're actually really insecure babies on the inside.
Yeah.
What
So,
did you
yeah,
find out?
according to Wikipedia, if it should be believed or not,
you can't Wikipedia.
there's also YouTube videos about it. But personal life. In October of 2022, Tate announced on his Getter account that he had converted to Islam.
No!
A video of Tate praying at a mosque in Dubai, UAE, went viral. And it says in another YouTube video 2 weeks ago, it says that Andrew Tate leaves Christianity and converts to Islam.
So they're saying he was a Christian before when he was having all those horrible opinions and ideas. And
Yeah.
now he's Muslim. Oh. I
So-
wonder if he'll be as strict a Muslim as he was a Christian.
Well, okay, so I don't know that he was a Christian.
I know,
fully,
that's was my irony.
I just saw an article on August 8th saying that although Andrew Tate was not a practicing Muslim throughout his kickboxing career, he has the highest, utmost respect for the Muslim religion.
He wasn't a practicing Christian either.
Which means, he
Yeah.
wasn't a practicing Christian either at that point. So he's
I wonder if he'll be a
converted fully
practicing Muslim.
Well, the thing you do know about Andrew Tate is everything he does is 110%. I mean, think about it. He's not afraid to say whatever he wants, whatever's on his mind. He's not afraid to tell his most misogynistic opinions online and tell women, get in the kitchen where you belong, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's basically his viewpoint on so many things.
Okay. So he has a very Trump-like
At that point,
personality.
he's a perfect candidate for certain religions that will remain nameless.
Well, you know how he has a very Trump-like personality.
Trumpian. Can we call it a Trumpian personality?
How do you feel about that on social media? Do you think people like that should be canceled or blocked off Twitter
Heck
and
no.
stuff like that?
Andrew Tate being canceled, people who are celebrating that are idiots. I'll say it to their face. Although, and this is somebody who disagrees with a lot of what he says at times, or thinks he says things in a way just to be inflammatory, just deliberately to tick people off. He shouldn't have been canceled.
Yeah.
Then you're giving, you devalue your opinion. You make your opinion meaningless when you censor the counter opinion. That's what you do. If you say that, well, his opinion is opposite of mine, what Andrew Tate is saying is not right, so we're just going to take it right off and just get rid of it. Well, then you make it seem like your opinion is indefensible. And that's not my case. I don't mind Andrew Tate saying what he says, because when I disagree with him, I can say, well, you're not 100% right on that, I don't think, and here's why, X, Y, and Z, and I can defend my position to him.
I think what people got so mad about with him is that there were a lot of things that he did have a very logical, good opinion on.
Yeah.
And then he would wrap it up in ego, and it would just ruin the opinion of everything.
The thing he said, obviously, the clip that finally was the straw that broke the camel's back was when he said, if you're gay and you made the choice to live a lifestyle that means you can't have kids, don't tell my kids what to do. Don't try to influence my kids, is what he was saying. And it was about anti-grooming and all this kind of stuff, and how he affirms the idea that you should not be able to have sexual conversations with minors in high school or whatever, in kindergarten, for goodness sake. I agree with him on that principle. I don't want, the thing is, I'm smart enough to convey that in a way that, and I'm not trying to ruffle feathers, I'm going to convey that in a way that makes sense and is logical, that doesn't can't be painted out as like, I hate gay people or something like that, because it's not true. I don't want heterosexual couples talking about how many times they perform intimate things and how to do intimate things to my kid. I got a 9-year-old. I don't want his teachers talking about how they made babies. No, thank you. Gay or straight.
Okay, do you think people that look up to him, do you think it's because, I said people, but I think it's majoritively men. There might be some women that look up to him, but mostly men probably. Do you think it's because men are more shallow, or do you think it's a generational thing?
I think people are looking up to him for the same reason they looked up to Jordan Peterson, in that nobody's telling men to be men. Everyone's telling men to be afraid to be a man. Yeah. Everyone's telling men that it's toxic to say, hey, I want a woman who wants to take care of my home while I go make the money. You're a toxic, domineering male. That's what they're telling you. But then what I'm seeing now as a trend is so many people, even females, you can see this, influencers on TikTok and YouTube Shorts and Instagram, now sharing that opinion that men are being overlooked and mistreated just for being men. For instance, I saw a female YouTuber. She said it was a YouTube short, I think it was, and she was saying, imagine if you met a man and you looked at him, women, and you looked at him and said, what are you bringing to the table? And he just went, this. You'd be like, she said, you'd have 25 questions. What kind of job do you have? What kind of car do you have? Can you take care of a home? Can you take care of kids? Can you provide X, Y, and Z? Are you going to do X, Y, and Z for me? Are you going to be willing to take a punch for me or defend me in public if we get mugged or whatever, yada, yada? Are you going to be able to do all these things? If he just came up and said, I got a washboard stomach, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to happen. The man's going to get nowhere with you. But she said on the flip side of that, a lot of women, when they approach a man, if you ask them, what are they bringing to the table? The woman goes, this. And that's supposed to be enough.
Okay, I don't want to put people into a box, but it does seem like men more often do value the physical attraction. So maybe that's why some women have decided, well, this is enough. Because this is what I'm being graded on by men. They won't even date me if I don't have this.
That's true. Yeah. But at the same time, the flip side of that coin, I've heard women commentators talk about how you know what men are interested in.
Yeah.
All right? You know it. And you tell everything you're interested in as a woman. Like, I want a man that does this and this and has this and this and this and this. And that's fine. And the moment a man says, I want a woman that has this and this and this and this, you're like, you're a sexist. It's like, that's not right. This discussion was going on amongst women, a bunch of women. There was one woman commentator, and I forget who she is, but she's so good at articulating. She's basically on the defense of men and a lot of that stuff.
Oh, that just pearly things.
She's got like, she's red hair or whatever like that. Yes, she's so good at articulating some of that stuff.
They say she's internalized misogynist.
But it's just like, she's not wrong. She says those things like, why is it okay for you to have all the things? She did this one. She said that women who won't date men that are shorter than them, period.
They call her the hoe whisperer.
The hoe whisperer.
Because she brings admittedly loose women on her podcast and then tries to teach them about what a man really wants.
Yeah. Well, she's like, and the other thing that kills me and that I 100% agree with is this: you lose your right for people to kind of take up your cause if you're offended when no one wants you. If men don't want you, when you refuse to engage in what men want. They're not going to want you. If you're like, I know what men want. They want X, Y, and Z. I'm just going to judge them and call them evil sexist for wanting that, and I'm going to do my own thing. Well, then when no men want you, or no desirable men want you, you're dumb to expect another reality.
I feel like the majority of the world is just playing this really service level, shallow dating game. And I can't imagine being in the dating world right now.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about that so much. I would not want to be dating right now. The thing that I don't agree with Andrew Tate as an influencer, in my opinion, he has a lot of egotistical, misogynistic characteristics. He really does. There is a such thing as toxic masculinity, and there is a such thing as toxic femininity. There's toxic humanity.
Yep. I agree.
And he has some toxic tendencies that come from that overcharged testosterone area. And that alpha male dominating kind of thing. My car's better than you. I've got more money, so therefore I'm better. You know, like all of that is what you said, the surface level, look at my success thing. There's nothing multi-generational down the road that's going to come from that. And this is how this is connected. He has no problem looking at women and saying, 20 years down the road, because you're a boss lady who got your career and you go to travel, 20 years down the road when you got no kids, you're going to be lonely and miserable old hag. He has no problem saying that kind of stuff.
But he's not 100% wrong.
Right. He has, right, that's what I'm saying. He has no problem saying that stuff, but he also doesn't internalize and reflect and say, I tell everybody, this is important, this is important, this is important, money, job, career, yeah, whatever. Not talking about the morals and values and stuff that I'm instilling in my family and my kids in the future. And if you teach the next generation that money, cars, and women, and balling out in tables and bottles and whatever else is what's important, that's what they're going to think. That's what they're going to chase after. And when they don't get that, they're going to think I'm worthless and meaningless.
Yeah.
When you don't also tell them it's the coolest thing in the world and probably the most gratifying and hardest earned thing in the world. It's a loveless job just to be a dad and day in, day out, take care of your kids and put aside all your desires that you have for the day to just go jump on the trampoline with your kids, even though your back's hurting, all this kind of stuff, or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like, and take time with your children to develop them. The fact that that's not his reality, and his reality is, I'm the alpha male, work on your 6-pack abs, get your freaking $1 million, and and get the prettiest girl in the room because she's shallow too.
Yeah.
It's like he's not turning the same mirror that he reflects on those
He
women.
doesn't understand long-term fulfillment.
Yeah, he's not turning that same mirror that he turns on all these loose women or whatever you want to call it on himself. And realizing that 20 years from now, you're just going to be some older loser with maybe you do have a nice physique, maybe you don't. If your mentality never changes.
Yeah. So do you think it's just an immature mentality? Do you think that's why he's so appealing to young men? Besides him being an example of masculinity.
He was obviously starved for some kind of structure. That's why he is converted to Islam now. And I'm not anti-Semitic, but I've read the entire Quran and the Muslim religion, full-blown Islam. The male is the dominant figure. Period. The male makes the decisions. The male's in charge. And granted, that means that the male is supposed to love and take care of his wife. But in certain Sharia law countries, if the wife offends their husband, he can slap her or stone her and get another one.
Yeah.
It kind of makes the females, you talk about Handmaid's Tale, it kind of makes the wife in that relationship seem like property, for sure. And that's not the Christian way of looking at it, I'll say, but I'm jaded.
I don't know. Okay, I'm just going to tell you what it said, but I'm not sure how it fits into this conversation. Okay. You can tell me.
Sure.
There was some study that said, I think I heard it on the Just Pearly Things Girl, and it was about men and women, how they value different things. And like a man and a woman, when they're dating, will both tell you we want a good personality and a sense of humor. But for a man and a woman, it means two different things.
Yeah.
When a girl says, I want a man with a good sense of humor, it means he's funny. He's saying funny things. And when a guy says, I want a girl with a good sense of humor, it's not because she's saying funny things. It's because she's laughing at what he says. Yes. where does this fit in? Because I think it's important.
Well, I think that's a culturally assigned roles. That's where it gets a little tricky. I think that's culturally assigned roles because there's a part of me that this is not my relationship with me and my wife is I just humor her all the time, and I can make her giggle and laugh. She thinks I'm foolish. She rolls her eyes at the things I say, and me being funny is one of the reasons why we're together. Her favorite movie of all time was Dumb and Dumber. So my Jim Carrey side of my personality is what she loves, probably. But there's a part of me that back when I was dating, I dated some very outgoing women, and that was attractive to me. The ones that were like, in my
big personality.
In my Instagram, I'll see some female stand-up comics, and I'll stop and listen to them and crack up. And so to me, it means a different thing. I'm like, them being funny is not only recognition, or having a good sense of humor is not only recognition of my funny, but also if they were the one to come up with the thing that I just like giggle at for the next hour,
I couldn't imagine being in a marriage that you all didn't have a good sense of humor with each other. That's crazy to me that people have those.
No, it's true. It's true.
But I don't think that fits in with the Andrew Tate conversation.
Maybe not. But
it can be a clip. Make a little short.
I don't think Andrew Tate should have been canceled. I don't think he should have. I don't think anybody, unless they are blatantly advocating physical violence against other people or groups of peoples, I don't really think they should be canceled. And even then, I hesitate to say it because you're giving another entity control over what you as human beings can think and express.
I agree.
I think he can express whatever he wants. If it's as misogynist as he can. And he has said some things that I really like, man, that is exactly to a T the right way to do that and the right approach to look at it. He said some other things I'm like, you're kind of dumb.
Like, it was pointed out when they took Trump off Twitter that ISIS still had an account, all kinds of white knights of, the KKK and stuff. There's all kinds of organizations that are blatantly, violently racist, like violently.
Yeah.
But they still have these accounts just because they don't say it on that venue.
Yeah.
And I just can't.
Let me ask you about this then.
What?
So, is it Ethan Klein? Ethan Klein, the guy, Ethan Klein. I had this clip saved in my phone for a long time because he celebrated Andrew Tate's cancellation like this soulless shill. Like he just was like, oh, it's great. He's finally like canceled. It's the best thing on the planet. He celebrated it like he is just a pawn for the establishment. Like he just suckled on that teat so hard. And I hated it. It looked, I was like, dude, that is so not, in my opinion, that's so beta male. That's so not alpha humanity. Not even just alpha male. Just it's not, that is like so dumb to celebrate the cancellation of somebody else's voice who hasn't. He said some dumb things, but not advocating violence on any kind. It just seems so pathetic. So pathetic. Like he was saying, please, he's simping for the freaking establishment, is what it seemed like, Ethan Klein. And then he turned around and said what he said about Ben Shapiro. Did you see that?
No, what did he say?
He said that, I hope when they start gassing again, I hope Ben is the first one.
He did not.
He said that.
Clifton.
He said that. And he got canceled.
What do you mean by canceled, though? Is he actually banned off Twitter
Let's
or
look
anything?
it up.
Because that's horrible.
Like, I don't want people to get canceled. But here he is. This guy is genuinely advocating violence. Yeah. I'm going to go Ethan Klein canceled.
Talk about racist. I mean, that's the thing. He's saying something about a culture that he belongs to. He's Jewish. But that's awful.
In November of 2022, Ethan Klein's Twitter account received a permanent suspension for violating Twitter terms of service after his impersonating Elon Musk. Klein changed his username to Elon Musk and his profile picture to a depiction of him. So he was permanently banned off of Twitter for impersonating somebody else.
Yeah.
And then
Musk at that. That's funny.
Ethan Klein canceled YouTube nukes H3 podcast. YouTube nuked the H3 podcast. Oh, wow. They did it. They canceled Ethan Klein's H3 podcast sponsors. They got rid of his sponsors and everything because They canceled him because he made that comment on his podcast. When they start back up gassing, I hope Ben Shapiro gets gassed first, is what they said.
Now, while I don't believe organizations should be able to silence your voice, I do believe there should be retribution socially. Like, if you start doing something I don't agree with, I think, socially, that's how you take care of things. If you do something I don't agree with, I don't hang out with you. I tell other people, look at that crappy thing Clifton did. So it's like, I think that's how things should be handled. So if sponsorships dropping, that's understandable.
I think...
but I don't think they should be blocked and silenced.
Oh, I've said I don't think people should be blocked in silence unless they're advocating violence. And when he advocated violence, and the reason I think they should be blocked in silence when they're advocating violence against a group of people, like that statement he made, that's advocating violence against Ben Shapiro.
Well, it's obviously was in humor. Bad taste, but he wasn't really trying to throw Ben Shapiro in a gas chamber.
Even so, because if you leave it up, if you leave that where you are, even if you interpretively advocating violence against somebody, you're giving an opportunity for those cells to collect around that thought and mentality and that idea. I agree with you. Yeah, they should bring that back, and then it can escalate. And that's where I'm like, it's a slippery slope. I don't want him canceled. I don't want the guy canceled. I said because I didn't think, although I disagreed with Andrew Tate, he shouldn't have been canceled either. But you can't advocate violence against people and expect repercussions not to exist.
I still don't think that's advocating violence. It's just a really racist and poor taste joke.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
I can say that. But based on his track record, you don't know that it's a joke. That's the thing. When he says it, I watched the clip of him saying it. It is so mean-spirited because he's sitting there condemning Ben Shapiro for so long because he's so anti... He's called him alt-right. He's called him all this stuff and condemning him and over and over and over, and calling him part of the fascist regime. All this stuff that they have. They basically anybody who's a conservative anymore is semi-fascist, is what they go with.
Well, how do you feel about like Kanye West talking about the Jewish media overlords all the time and stuff? Like while he's not saying something that incites violence specifically, it is inflammatory towards a race of people.
I feel like there's more tactful ways to say what he's saying. In the same way with Ethan Klein. And unfortunately for Kanye, he said so many outlandish, crazy things that people can label him as crazy and say anything he says is complete junk. Like when he was with Joe Rogan, I think he was on Joe Rogan podcast saying, how much does the world cost? I want to buy the world. It's like a crazy thing to say.
I don't think that's that crazy.
Well, it's
a poetic thing to say.
I'm going to be king of the world. It's like, come on, man. It's a little crazy. I'm just saying when you say those kinds of things and people don't know whether you're serious or not, because when he says them with a straight face, like, then when you say something else that maybe has a nugget of truth in it, but can be labeled as crazy, people can just write off anything you say at that point. I don't think Ethan Klein should have been canceled. I don't think Kanye West should be canceled. They're trying to dehumanize him. And did he say what I would interpret as anti-Semitic things? Yes. Not any more anti-Semitic than what Ethan Klein said. But I guarantee it's just a matter of time before Ethan Klein's back on his platform because he suckles at the liberal teat, like he just does. So he'll be back, falling in line. I'm so sorry, my bad, overlords. Please don't hurt me anymore. I'll do whatever you say. That's the vibe I get from that guy. Kanye will never do that. He's already too far gone. When he put on the red hat years ago, he sealed his fate. He's associated with Trump. So it's like they got to make anybody associated with Trump seem like evil. However they can, If you like this clip from the Not Gospel Studios YouTube channel, don't forget to share. Click on one of the other links and videos. You can find them here and here, and subscribe. I think it's down here. Tell your friends about us. Tell them that it's healthy, that it's vegan, and all of those things. Keep being awesome because that's how God made you.